Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this one's going to be a fun one. In this review, we're going to look at the 2023 Can-Am Maverick Sport XMR with the 100 horsepower, 1000cc V-twin engine. This thing really intrigues me because I think it is amazing for the trails out here in New Brunswick, and I think it's perfect for the kind of off-roading that I want to do. But what we're going to do in this review is go through the details that make this stand out. It's not just about looks and styling and, things like ground clearance and suspension. We'll talk about all those, but there's an electronic piece in this that really differentiates it from other units, that makes it better for you. And I'm gonna try to dig into that and other features in this video so that you get the information that you need. But if I don't cover everything that you want, I'm filming here at Torque Motorsports. I'm here, or Torque Extreme Motorsports. I'm here in the Fredericton location. There's two other locations here in New Brunswick, and they give me complete access to the entire Can-Am lineup. So if there's a question that you have that I don't get to in this video, make sure you subscribe, let me know in the comments below, and I'll come back to it both in the comment section and in future videos. If we have to film this thing again, we absolutely will. If we have to film other units for you to make sure you get the answers you need, we're going to create a video database of all the information you need right here on this channel. So I want to thank Extreme Torque Motorsports here in Fredericton and throughout New Brunswick that give me that access. Let's get going with this video. So when you see this Maverick Sport XMR for the first time in person, you'll notice that it's actually kind of compact. I know that online, some pictures and some other things, they try to make it look really huge and that kind of thing, and that's, that's great for marketing. But the reality is, while this is incredibly capable, it's really not that long. I'm about 6 feet tall, about a 6-foot wingspan, and it's really not that big, which makes it very maneuverable on all kinds of trails. Where this thing is fantastic though is when you get through those trails into those really muddy sections. And that's where this starts to stand out. It's not just that it's got 15 inches of ground clearance or it's got 14.8 inches of suspension travel front and rear. It's that it has things like approach angles that are absolutely insane. The farthest thing forward on this is the tire. There's nothing else there. The farthest thing on the back here is the tire. And again, that 15 inches of ground clearance, relatively short wheelbase, makes it maneuverable, also gives you a great breakover angle. But like I said, it's not just about the geometry of this, it's also about some of the electronics. So let's start talking about some of the things that you see in here and why they're gonna help you have, one, a more enjoyable ride, and two, a more capable ride. And you're gonna look like a pro driver even if you're not a pro driver, and that's what I love most about this. So let's start at the front, work our way to the back. We're gonna get inside, show you the dash, show you the layout, talk about the electronics, talk about comfort and other things, because that's the other thing this does very well. It's a very comfortable unit. Let's get going with all of that right now. So when you start looking into this class of more high-performance side-by-sides, you start having a lot of visual similarities but technical differences, and that's kind of where we get into here. A lot of units here are going to have this really heavy-duty suspension, we'll talk about that in a second, and you're going to have the A-arms that have this nice little kink to it, and that's going to give you some extra ground clearance. The difference here, to my eyes just looking at it, is not everyone does quite as much of an angle there, and not everyone has quite as much of a beefy, double A-arm setup here. So you've got a ton of strength here. And again, with the wheels, the tires themselves being the furthest part forward, you can really dive into some mud hills or mud, spots or whatever, ditches and other things that you wouldn't do with the other units. And even the front guards here are designed for that. You can sort of drop this on its nose, and normally you have kind of something that allows you to climb over, but if you were to mess up and go straight down on your nose, you've got protection right up here with the solid bars right there. Got a winch there as well, a 4,500-pound winch that'll tow this thing out no problem. It'll also help you tow other people out, because you're probably going to be relied on by some of your friends to pull them out of places that you've gone through without any issues here. Let's talk about the suspension. We'll work our way to the back, talk about that suspension. We'll briefly touch on the engine, because I think that's a real key piece to this unit. And then we're going to talk about those electronics that really tie this all together and make you look like a hero. So we're along the driver's side here looking at the front wheels, and you can see that you've got the suspension in there. We've got the A-arms that we talked about down there, the back side of the A-arms. We're going to scroll our way up, and you're going to see a couple different things. This is kind of typical for the class, but let's just point it out while we're here. First of all, you've got the large springs, again, 14.8 inches of travel front and rear, so identical travel front and rear. You've got a lot of, just quality components in here, but including these Fox shocks. So you've got a little bit of variable rate shocks here. So again, a little bit tighter coil here, bigger coil there. That's basically going to give you a smoother ride, a little bit more control, as well as the ability to, you know, come off those jumps or those big bumps and that kind of thing. So you've got that variable rate. Again, this is kind of typical stuff, adjustable preload, a fully adjustable shock. The big thing is, again, typical stuff for the class, you've got the piggyback shocks. Now what that does is it takes that heat that comes from the suspension compressing all the time, and it pulls it into this instead of in here. And what that means is that no matter how quickly this is working, you know, as much as this thing can handle, it can move that heat up there and you have very consistent performance. You don't end up with it bogging down a little bit. So you've got high quality shocks. There is adjustment up there. We're gonna show you a little bit better on the rear shock when we move there. But again, front shock, 14.8 inches of travel. Again, class competitive stuff here, but you know, definitely not under the class. You're definitely up to the class on this. Let's take a look at the back. So looking directly on the back here, again, a little bit different variable than the variable rate spring right here. So different, again, beefier springs out back here, beefier tires back here. We're gonna take a look at things from the side in just a second here, but same thing, beefier piggyback shocks here with the adjustments over here that it's nice, easy to reach. You got the preload adjustment over there. You've got a hitch, you can tow 1,500 pounds with this. It says right there on the hitch, so you don't have to remember how much can I tow again. 150 pounds in the hitch, 1,500 pounds overall towing capacity, which is good. Not every one of these higher performance units even have a hitch right there, so you can move that hitch right from the pickup truck right into this and move your utility trailer around. So this is a vehicle that is designed for fun, but you can justify it for the work it can do around your yard or around your property as well. Let's take a look at the side of this here, talk about some of this adjustment. Again, you can sort of see those big A arms. Again, everything's heavy duty on here. All right, so still on the driver's side, still in the rear here, you can see the hitch over on this side right there, and you've got the adjustable shocks right here. So let's just sort of zoom into that so you get a look at what you're looking at. What I love about this is it's super accessible here. A lot of these shocks are kind of buried in. The front ones are a little bit more buried, just harder to film, but easier to reach. But you can see here, all these different adjustments here, 1, 2, 3, what do we got, 4-ish? I know we got several adjustments there. You can turn that just with your hand. So what's cool about that is no tools, quick adjustments. You can make your adjustments to your suspension while you're out on the trail to customize the ride for the way you want. Again, go fully wide angle, and you can see easily accessible, lots of clearance here. And we're gonna talk a little bit more as we work our way up to the air intakes up over there, but we'll first talk about the tires, engine, transmission. Let's get going through that. All right, so we're just looking at the rear wheels right now. 30-inch wheels here. Now again, some people say, hey, you want bigger wheels, smaller wheels. Again, you've always got the option of swapping that out, but I think for the overall fit of this unit, this is just the perfect size. They look massive with these really deep tread blocks here, which I think is really cool. And again, 14-inch wide here, 9-inch wide in the front, so you got a little bit better steering in the front there, a little bit of traction, of course, back here for your acceleration. And again, those huge, massive lugs that really help you dig through the mud. And again, tires are a really important piece, but it's the electronics that make this one stand out. I also love the wheels, how the wheel color matches the body side. Just a really cool, sporty look. So let's talk about the engine and some of the electronics in this and how they work for you. First of all, this is kind of that Goldilocks engine for me. It's a Rotax engine, it's a V-twin, 1000cc, makes about 100 horsepower, and working with the transmission, it's geared down low, or the transmission allows you to have that torque down low. That allows you to have some fun with it. Good acceleration, you can swing out the tail, have some fun. But of course, if you don't want to swing out the tail, you've got that 4x4 option. But this is where this unit is really unique, and this is that technology that kind of works the magic. So first of all, you've got a little bit of drive modes in here, eco and sport, and you've got a drive-by-wire throttle. That means it can soften that throttle feel for the eco, it can make it more immediate for the sport. That's kind of a cool feature just to give it some playfulness, or if you have a lot of fun playing out there and you just want to drive eco, you know, maybe on a section of the trip that's just kind of more boring, you set in that eco mode and the throttle sensitivity will change for you. So again, drive-by-wire is pretty cool. It also has electric power steering, which is, again, typical in the class, but this is better, and I'll tell you why it matters as I talk about the next feature. The real feature on this, the magic feature, is this smart locking front differential. So of course you can lock the front differential by hitting a button, lock it in. We're gonna go inside this thing and take a look at the dash in a second. You can look at the switch, but the switch doesn't tell you how this actually works. So let me kind of explain the magic here. The smart locking differential can sense torque. It can sense wheel speed and wheel spin. and it will automatically decide when the front locker has to be locked. Now, if you've driven anything like this before and you have the front locker locked, of course your steering can get kind of stiff and difficult when you have the front wheels locked. So the smart locker allows it to lock and release only as necessary. And what's cool is as it locks, the electronic power steering knows that it's locked, and it can change its assist level to help it feel much more natural for you. So you don't have that sense like, oh, now it's locking, oh, now it's released. You have that ability to have this thing electronically lock its front wheels, to have the steering feel electronically change itself, along with the way you can sort of customize your throttle pedal through that drive-by-wire system. And what that means is this entire system works seamlessly to pull you through those mud holes and pull you through those low traction situations on your own. Now, of course, if you want to just keep it locked in because you know you're going through a lot of mud, you can do that. In this smart locker, if you take a really sharp turn and you need to make a tight turn, it knows that if you're turning that sharp, hey, when you have your front wheels locked, it's not going to turn very sharp. It's going to kind of skip and slide and that kind of thing. So this will allow the front locker to unlock in the very sharpest of turns and relock as it comes back closer to center or comes off that very sharp turn. That smart locker is something that takes you from an average driver to a pro driver. You're gonna outclass your friends just because this is helping you think. Now, because this can help you think, because you've got the approach angle, the departure angle, the ground clearance, the breakover angle, and the technology to go deeper into those mud holes, let's talk about what we have back here that makes a big difference as well. So looking at the back of the unit, you can see these up here. They kind of look like speaker grills maybe on camera, but when you see them in person, they're very clearly air intakes. And what you have is an air intake for both the engine and the transmission. And these are tall. Again, I haven't got the camera angle set up here, but you can kind of see I'm about 6 feet tall, just kind of gently leaning in. These are really, really tall, which that means you can drive through those mud holes. You've got that belt sort of sealed up, you've got everything kind of sealed in underneath, and you've got ability to get really, really wet and really, really stuck and not have issues with the air intake. One of them's for the engine, one of them's for the transmission, and they're super high, and that really helps you out. While we're here, let's just talk about this bed here. Bed's pretty practical. You can put all those Can-Am accessories in here. We'll show you a little bit closer in a second how it's set up, but you can take 300 pounds here. And that's all you're gonna need to take on a unit like this. Let's come in a little closer for you. So taking a little closer look, I have the camera on wide angle, so you can kind of see it kind of makes it look a little wider, maybe skews the exact dimensions of this, but you can see these little quick release type systems here. Again, Can-Am has accessories for absolutely anything, and in some cases they can transfer from vehicle to vehicle, even among classes of vehicles, and that's what this really allows you to do, is lock in whatever you need to lock in to various things. So we'll just go away from the wide angle. You can kind of see all of those little extra tie-down type pieces or a link attachment type pieces there, and you can put whatever you want in here. And again, 300 pounds is all you're gonna need for a sport type unit. And again, this mounts it quite high out of the way, out of the mud. But again, nice lip along the edge outside, lower lip, of course, the back, and a bigger lip along the fronts and everything there. So you can see it if you look back from the driver's environment, but you've got it really secured in there. Speaking of driver's environment, let's go take a look at that right now. All right, as we approach the unit, you can see the ground clearance is there. We're gonna switch between wide angle and everything and zoomed in angles throughout this next little few minutes of shots here. What I really like is the door handles. They are easy to get to, even with gloves on, and they feel solid and like secure. And then you also have them on the inside. It seems like such a minor thing, but so many of them you have to kind of reach out to the outside to get your handles. These are pretty big doors. They come up to keep you a little bit more protected, almost shoulder height there for me. And you can see the strength built in, but still lightweight. And it curves out from your body. So it's hard to sort of show on camera, but there's definitely a curve out to this area, which is going to give you a little bit extra room. The other thing that's really, really good are these seats here. They're just a sports seat. Again, they look kind of the same as most other competitors, but there is something about these seats that are very comfortable, that works very well. So we'll just zoom back in out of the wide angle. You do have a tilt steering wheel there. You got your headlights over here. You got your winch over there, which we talked about. We'll talk about the dash in a second here. We'll show you the controls over here. In case you want to see them there, that is sort of a view right there. We're going to talk about the mud versus trail, differential lock, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, your gear shift down here. Let's jump in for a second and we'll start it up and we'll talk about what this is like. All right, we're wide angle sitting in the driver's seat here. First of all, view, of course, is excellent. You don't need to see much past the hood because your tires are past there. So if you're hitting something over here, you can sort of see your tires are going to be there. So you've got a really good view when you just lean out the side here of where you're placing this unit. A couple other little things that are pretty cool. First of all, we talked about that dynamic power steering. That's a little little ad for it there, right there, a sticker for it, and you have a little bit of a storage space up in here, which will hold everything, you know, the basics that you need. And then you also have the sort of glove box over here. And again, I'm not wide angle, so it could be a better view. I will say this glove box is pretty big for the class. I've seen certainly seen some smaller ones along there. You've got a nice big handle here. Let's go fully wide angle just to give you a little bit better view here. All right, let's talk about, you know, first of all, a little trick that we'll do. If you don't see me start it up, it's oftentimes because it's a little bit noisy, but I am going to start this one up here. And we started it up there. This is a very quiet unit at idle, which I really like. The dash here, again, we're gonna see a little bit of glare in the camera. I don't see the glare that you're seeing because when I'm looking at this with two eyes, it kind of diffuses that glare. The camera's just got one eye, so ignore the glare a little bit because I really don't have any issues seeing anything here. We're gonna zoom right in. There's a better idea. We're in the eco mode right now. We do have drive modes. We're gonna change through that as we go through. You can sort of see everything you need here. Temperature gauge over there, clock down here. Now this RPM gauge, we can change to various other things. There's 9 kilometers here on this. We've got a fuel tank there. Let's just change the drive mode here. First of all, let's go to drive mode. And again, the drive mode, we're gonna see up top there, it says Eco. As we hit the drive mode here, I'm gonna use the wrong hand to do that. You can see it changes to sport. It also says on the bottom of the screen. So you've got the 2 drive modes there, back to Eco mode there. And then we'll keep it on this angle here as we go through the menu. You're gonna see speed statistics, engine temperature, battery voltage, settings in there. We can go through that later. We'll leave on RPM for now. So you just get a sense of what the RPM or what the engine's doing there. Again, I'm speaking, the engine's not mic'd, but one of the cool things about this is something that you can actually hang out with your passenger and they can hear you speak, which is just kind of a fun piece. If you're gonna go out with someone else, you wanna enjoy them. All right, let's check out the mud and the trail. So let's talk about what that is. Now, mud and trail, we talked about the drive modes in this, which is the eco and the sport. This is not a drive mode. This is that front differential mode set up for trail riding, which I think this thing does really, really well, but also steps you into the mud. And that's what I love about this unit is these 2 words here, these 2 settings for that smart differential, they really let you know what this thing is built for. It is super capable on the trail for fun, but around the trails around here, they tend to get pretty muddy, and you really have the ability to get in the mud, just one tap, set it up. Now the front differential lock, again, we can lock it in there, or we can just leave it in the 4x2, 4x4, or front differential lock there. So again, that smart differential in that 4x4 setting is really the way I would leave it set up. There is a 12-volt port right there, just to show you that as well. And again, the overall feel of this place, I can flip the camera around if you want to see. In fact, let's just do that for 1 second. So the overall feel here, you can see my shoulder is sort of protected by the door. I like that for a unit that's really capable of getting in the mud. You've got great visibility, but pretty good protection as well here. Really comfortable seats. I'm about 6 feet tall, obviously space for a helmet, that kind of thing. You could put a roof on this. You could put a windshield on this. Of course, the Can-Am accessory lineup is among the best in the industry, so you can make this into anything you want to have. But really what you have is a very sporty feeling environment, which is fun. It's comfortable, great visibility, you feel safe, you feel strong, and this has a compact feel to it, so it's very, very maneuverable, and just, it makes it feel like you're driving a sports car that can really go off-road. And I really like the cab of this. I think it's done very, very well. You really feel sort of tucked in like a sports car, but you still have plenty of room to be comfortable. So really well done job on the interior of this unit. So let's talk about who this unit is for, and this is really why I try to do these reviews, because I think if you look at the spec sheet, you can just get lost with this unit and other units. When you start seeing this in person, you start digging into it, I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. If you look at the specs, hey, great ground clearance, great suspension travel, you know, the tires bigger or smaller, whatever you want. This seems to be a really good balance of a trail capable unit that gives you good performance, decent efficiency, but really crazy capability. And it's that crazy capability that really stands out for me, because that smart locking differential is going to get you in and out of areas that you just can't go in with other units. And to me, when you're taking something this size out, especially if you're going out alone, you want to make sure that whatever you're getting into, you're going to be able to get out of as well. So of course you've got the winch, you've got that, but you can go out on your own with some confidence that you can really get where you need to go. What I love about this unit is it's really, really trail capable, but you can go out in those early seasons here in New Brunswick. We get a lot of snow, and when the snow's been melting and you want to get out there, it's going to leave a lot of deep puddles, especially in that early spring. This thing is going to get you through those. But This is also a good unit because when you start spending as much money as these side-by-sides are now, especially these sport units are, you need them to be able to do some work. And there's a lot of these sport side-by-sides that really can't do the work. They don't even come with a hitch. Having the ability to have a 1,500-pound hitch on this allows you to do the work around your property that you may need to do. It allows you to justify it as a working unit, but also not give up any performance as a play unit. 300 pounds in the back here. Hey, maybe it's enough to work, maybe the space is enough to work, maybe it's not, but the big thing is you can take your cooler out, you can take your stuff out, anything you need for weight, it'll carry it. And again, for the extra work, you've got the hitch on there. So to me, who is this unit for? This unit is for people who want to have a lot of fun in a relatively compact unit that is exceptionally capable. This is going to make you feel like a better driver than you are through both the electronics and just the basic geometries of things. Having those A-arms that come up a little bit higher, having a little bit extra strength, which you can see right in there, but still have that lightweight feeling, the right amount of power to have all kinds of fun. This thing is a real standout in its class, and I'm a huge fan. This is right now is my favorite side-by-side. So what do you want to know that I've missed? Again, I'm filming here at Torque Extreme Motorsports, or Extreme Torque Motorsports, excuse me, in Fredericton, New Brunswick. There are 3 locations throughout New Brunswick, and they will service you no matter where you are, but they also give me complete access. And if I'm not answering the questions that you want to know about this unit or other Can-Am things, just let me know and I'll come back to it in the future. So do me a favor, give this video a like, share it around, spread it around, leave some comments that'll help Torque Motorsports know, or Extreme Torque Motorsports know that you know, you guys are appreciating these videos. And of course, the more spread we get on something like this, the more ability I had to do this for you. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.